Okay, and thank you for joining, Andy. So this is all about SQL Server DBA course, and this is the content, like course content, what we are going to discuss, what we're going to discuss about as part of this course, Andy. So let's discuss about what is the course content, and then after that we'll follow the course content, and we'll discuss about history of SQL Server versions and editions, and responsibility of database administrator. So in the first topic is warrior of SQL Server. So in this topic, we will discuss about history of SQL Server versions and editions, responsibility of database administrator, and DBA operations, warrior of SQL Server services, software lifecycle, licensing part, and interview question and answers. Like each and every topic has separate session for interview question and answers. So this is mainly using for clearing the interview. And the next topic is installation and configuration. Like in this topic we will learn about pre-installation steps, installation, post installation, and uninstalling or adding new features to the SQL Server, and installation related errors and troubleshooting, and as well as interview question and answers. So the next course topic is patching and service pack installations. Like what are the different product updates we have for SQL Server, and again how to install, and like pre-installation steps, installation, post-installation, and removing the service pack, and patching errors or troubleshooting. So that's the our third topic. And then the next topic is that warrior of databases. So in this topic, we'll understand the internal of SQL Server, like how SQL Server internally working. That means server architecture, database architecture, and log architecture, warrior for system databases, and interview question and answers. The next one is the backup and restoration. Like we will discuss about all type of backups. So we in SQL Server we have 8 different type of backup. Then we'll discuss about all the backup types, and performing backup and restoration, recovery models, recovery methods, and page level restore, uh, and database movement methods. How we can move the data from one server to another server, like entire database or specific objects like tables or view stored procedure, and the database file movement, linked servers. So internal connection communication, we can use the linked servers. Again, we'll discuss about the linked server, and as well as interview question and answers. The next one is that security. Like in the security topic, we will learn about how to create users, how to grant access, what are the different levels of permissions we have in SQL Server, and security auditing, and revoking permissions, and again troubleshooting, connectivity related troubleshooting things also we'll discuss in the security topic. The next one is that migration and upgradation of the databases. How we can migrate from lower version to higher versions, or maybe one environment to another environment. And again, in this topic, we'll also discuss about edition upgrade. So again, we have a different editions that we'll cover after completing this topic. So again, we will also discuss about edition upgrade. And moving to the next one, next topic is that automation. So in this topic, we will learn about how to create maintenance jobs, like how to create the alerts for monitoring the servers or databases, and we can make some operations in the automated way, like regular activities using the jobs and the maintenance plans, and database mail configuration. This functionality we are using for receiving the information from the SQL servers, including interview question and answers. The next important topic is that disaster recovery and availability. So in SQL Server, we have 5 different solutions or technologies we can call it for using the availability and disaster recovery. So again, so we'll understand. So we have a one session for what exactly the difference between disaster recovery and availability. Then we will discuss about all availability and disaster recovery concepts. Okay, again, end-to-end things we'll discuss like configuration, value configuration, architecture, and then disaster recovery testing, DB refresh, patching, and the disaster recovery and availability configure databases, and issues and interview question answers. So the disaster recovery and availability solutions are log flipping, database mirroring, replication, and clustering, and always on. So these are the 5 solutions we have for availability and disaster recovery solution in SQL Server. And the next one is that troubleshooting point. Like in these topics, we'll discuss about what is general troubleshooting, what is performance tuning, and how to analyze the performance tuning, and how to resolve, how to identify, and how we can give the best practices to reduce the performance related things. So those things we'll discuss in performance tuning topics. And the next one is that new discuss about new features, like we have new versions, mainly 2017 and 2019. These are the new versions for SQL Server. Again, we'll discuss the features on these servers, on these versions. And then real-time scenarios and issues, like what are the common issues we encounter in the real time, and then how to resolve those kind of problems that we'll discuss in real-time scenarios and issues. And we have a DBA course test scenarios, so very useful to get the hands-on experience on all the topics. And ticketing process. In the ticketing process, mainly we'll discuss about how we receive the instance, what are the different type of work levels we have, how we are receiving the like we have to follow the ITL process, like we have instant management, problem management, change management. So these things also we'll discuss as part of the tool ticketing process. And the next one is the tools. So in the tools, like for some operations in real time, we need to depend on the third party tools, like especially for monitoring the servers or ticketing process, as I said, the title process, and taking the backup and restoration. So many organizations nowadays, everyone prefer to use the third party tools rather than choosing the internal things. Again, we'll also discuss about a few third party tools related to ticketing tools, related to backup and monitoring. And then final topic is that security features. Nowadays, everybody is thinking about worrying about the security, protecting the data, their data. So Microsoft recently introduced the TDE and always encryption. TDE is available from 2010, but always an encryption is available from SQL Server 2016. Again, these features are very, very important. So like even in our organization, we already started implementing the TDE and always encryption. Okay, so these are also new features we'll discuss as part of this course. So this is the entire course content, right? So if you have any questions, you can ask, or else you can move to the next topic, that is history of SQL Server versions and editions. Okay. If you don't have anything, then we'll start with the history of SQL Server versions and editions. Again, in this topic, we'll also discuss about SQL Server software lifecycle, how Microsoft is releasing their product, and how they are releasing the product updates. These things also will discuss. The first one is that in this history of SQL Server, we'll discuss about a brief history of MSSQL Server, SQL Server services, versions of SQL Server, editions of SQL Server. So that means MS SQL Server is a RDBMS software, relational database management system. Right? So this RDBMS software we can use to manage the databases. Generally, data will store into the databases in the form of tables. So for managing the data, manipulating or managing or accessing to the data, so we need to use the RDBMS software. Right? In the market, as I said, that there are many many RDBMS softwares available, like MS SQL Server, MySQL, and then Oracle, and then Sybase, PostgreSQL. There are many database management softwares available. So MS SQL is one of the RDBMS software. So using MS SQL Server RDBMS software, we'll manage our data using in the databases, right? So so initially, Microsoft and Sybase both are separate organizations. They both combined and they developed the software. They developed the database management system software. Then after I think 4 or 5 years, so in the 1994, they separated. That means so Microsoft is separated from the Sybase, and Microsoft developed their software by their own technology and own skill set. And again, Sybase is also developed their own software. From 1995, so we have a separate version. So that means in every version, whenever they release, they put a separate name for the SQL Server. Those are SQL Server 6.0, 6.5, 7.0, and SQL Server 2000, 2005, 8.8R2, 2012, 14, 16, and 17, and latest one is 19. So these are the available. I mean, these are the versions so far released by the Microsoft for SQL Server. For SQL Server. So here till 2008 R2, those are outdated versions. That's mean outdated in the sense Microsoft is not responsible for any troubleshooting things. Again, they are not selling the softwares and they are not releasing any product updates for these versions. Okay, so that means nowadays nobody and no one prepared to install or using the 2000 till 2008 R2. But in many organizations still they have a 2008 R2, but eventually they'll look for upgrading the new versions. So recently I think last year we spent most of the time for migrating the all the databases from 2008 to 2008 and 2008 R2 to latest versions like 2014 and 16 we migrated. We spent a lot of time for migrating those versions, those databases. Right. So till 2008 or R2, those are the outdated versions. Right. And then available versions are 2012, 2014, 16, 17, and 19. 19 is the latest one. And then another change in Microsoft SQL Server is till 2014, till SQL Server 2014, it is only work on Windows platform. It won't. It doesn't work on the Linux. But from 2016 onwards, it will work on Linux as well as Windows. So that the Linux is a separate operating system and Windows is a separate operating system. Again, Windows is the software developed by the Microsoft. But 2016 onwards, it will be compatible with both the Linux platform as well as Windows. But in 99% in every organization, they prefer to use the Windows Server because the SQL Server is more compatible with the Windows operating system, right? So this is about the brief history of SQL Server versions and SQL Server, right? We clear about it. Then moving to the
What is the stable
software.
version, Malesh? What is the stable version we have with the vehicle server? Because is it 14 or 12? Which one is a stable one, which most of the
Uh,
organizations use?
like I mean, so again, so when come to I mean that very I mean in their perspective 2005 is very stable, so in the initial, then after that 2012 many people prefer to use it, then after that 2016. So like if you're comparing all these versions, like every version has their new features, but the most stable version is 2008 R2 and 2012 and 2016. Yeah. So in the many organizations we
Okay,
can see
thank you.
2012. Yeah, 2012 we can have more comparing in any other versions. And then coming to the versions and service pack. So in this topic, in this slide, we can discuss about uh, sorry, software lifecycle, how Microsoft is releasing the product updates, and what are the level of product updates they have. So when Microsoft, I mean, initially they'll release as the test versions. So test version generally you can call it as a beta versions, but in SQL Server terminology, we can call it as a CTP, Community Technology Preview. So that's mean, for example, if they're planning for 2000 SQL Server 2020, so the first before releasing the real version, they'll release the test versions. Those test versions you can freely download from Microsoft and we can test it. And if you encounter anything or if you want to give any suggestions, we can post our suggestions in Microsoft site. So that's mean. So initially they release it as a test versions. We can call it as a CTP, and then after that they release the RTM version. So RTM means release to manufacturing or maybe release to market. So this is the cost-based software. If we want to use the license RTM versions, we need to get the license from the Microsoft, right? So once we buy the RTM version, so then periodically the Microsoft is releasing the product updates. So again, we have a three different. They will release the three different type of product updates. One is hotfix, the second one is the CU cumulative updates we can call it, and the third one is the service pack. Hotfix in the sense like resolving the particular bug. For example, once you buy the software, if you encounter kind of problem related to the product, so we can directly contact to the Microsoft. So if it is it's a bug in their product, then they will provide the one exe file to fixing the particular problem. So that means hotfix we can define to resolving the specific bug. We can call it as a hotfix. So like once they release their software in the market, a different organization like TCS, Infosys, SQL, so these will buy the software and then can contact any kind of problem. They individually contact the Microsoft and they'll get the solutions for that by the using the hot fixes. So what Microsoft will do then? Microsoft will collect all the hot fixes and they will release as a CU. CU means cumulative updates, or maybe you can call it a collection of hot fixes. So CU also contain hot fixes, also product enhancements. Like if they do any product update, I mean any enhancements on the software, those enhancement features also they will add into the CU. That's mean CU is a combination of product updates as well as bug fixes. So those they'll release periodically, monthly, like monthly once or twice they release the CUs, right? So after they'll collect these CUs like 12 CUs or maybe 15 CUs. So they will collect and they will release as a service pack, right? So when it comes to the cost, like we no need to get the license, we need to no need to pay the money to get the product updates like hot fixes or CUs or maybe service packs. These are the free softwares we can freely download from Microsoft and we can apply it, right? So like till 2016 they're following the service pack model. That means as I said that after releasing the CUs and they'll accumulate all the CUs as a service pack. So they're following the four service pack model: service pack 1, service pack 2, service pack 3, and service pack 4, right? So there is no concept of service pack 5. Okay. So, but from 2017 onwards, they stopped with service pack model. So from 2017 onwards, we don't see any service packs for 2017 and above versions. They're releasing only CUs. And latest CU for 2017 is CU20, and for SQL Server 2019 is CU4, right? So when it comes to the service packs, 2016 is having service pack 2, and 2014 is having service pack 3, and 2012 is having service pack 4, and they might release service pack 4 for 2014, and service pack 3 and service pack 4 for 2016, right? But from 2017 onwards, we don't have a service pack 4 model, service pack model console. Okay, please note that we might get the question like, do you have what is the service pack for 2017 or 19? If you get the question, we can say that there is no service pack model. From 2017 and above, we have only CU concept. Latest CU for 2017 is CU20, and for 2019 CU4. Okay. So all this information, like whatever latest CUs or hotfixes or service packs information, if you want to get, you can depend on the Microsoft site. And we also have one wonderful site, sqlbuilds.blogspot.com. So this site we can regularly visit to get the product updates information. Okay. So this is the website sqlserverbuilds.blogspot.com. So in this site we can see all the latest product updates information. Okay. So this is they'll I think daily or they're updating this information. Here we can see that CU is the SQL Server 2019. So these are the versions. Again, Microsoft given the names for these versions. Like here we can see that Rise and then different names they're using. Code name vNext, and in 2016 is also having the code name. And here we can also see that so support end date, extended date. So like when the support will end for this particular version, the kind of information also we can see that. It is very useful information, right? Here we can see that like all these informations, versions, CTPs information CUs. Here we can see that before 2017 we have a service pack 1 model, but from 2017 onwards we don't have. Here also we can see that when was the CU was released. So the information also we can see that. Now we see the information. Now if you want to download the CU, just we can click the here, it will automatically route to the Microsoft site. So there we can download. Yeah, so here we can see the download link. If you click the download link, since my internet a little slow today. Yeah. So here we have to click the download option to download the software. Right. In the later classes, we'll discuss about how to install the CUs or hotfixes and service packs. So again, here we can see that all the service packs and CUs information as well. Okay, as I said that the first they released as the test version that we call it as a CTP, Community Technology Preview. Here we can see the 2.0, 2.1, 3.2. After quite some time, they released the SQL Server 2019. They released in November 4th, 2019. So if you want to use this one, so then we need to get the license from the Microsoft. So licensing, so they have a different licensing model like CAL and then Core, but most of the organizations, 99% organization, they get the license based on the cores, CPU count, or they will get the license. So once they after releasing the RTM version, 2019 RTM version, so they released the product updates. Here we can see that CU1 GDPR means security updates. Like they identify any security bottlenecks, then they can release the security updates. So CUs, here we can see that CU1, CU2, CU3, CU4. The latest one is CU4. Right? So if you want to test the like before testing, before if you want to use maybe in the your organization, if you want to test the 2019 features, we can also download the like they will also provide the like a test versions, or else if you want we can also download the CTP versions and we can test it. Okay. So this is very useful site for getting the all the product related updates information. So here we can see that Microsoft SQL Server 2016 Service Pack 2 they released on 2018 4/24. Here we can see that this is the 2016 RTM version release date 2016. Then after that they released this. So they released the CU4, CU5, CU6, and after releasing CU19, so CU9, they'll accumulate all the CUs they released as a service pack. It contains all CU9's information, and again if they want to add anything, they'll also add into this service pack. Okay, again if you want to download service pack, just click this button. It will automatically route to the Microsoft site, and we can follow the instruction to download the software. Okay, so that's about the software release or maybe life cycle we can call it. Okay, versions and service pack, and then CUs and hotfixes information. So if you have any questions, please let me know before moving to the next slide.
Malesh, if you are trying to install SQL 2012, so do we need to go for Service Pack 4?
Yeah, so always recommended to use the latest service pack after installing the SQL Server 2000, whatever version. Like if you want to install 2012 latest service pack, latest product update is service pack 4. So we must install the service pack 4. And comes to the 2016, after installing the 2016, we need to install the service pack 2. Available one is service pack 2 and then CU12. Better we can install whenever we get a request for installing the software. We better to install whatever with the server, whatever product updates available, all the product updates we need to install. But we have an option, so like no need to separately install SQL Server and Service Pack. So in installation, we have an option to install everything in a single window. So that part we will discuss in installation and configuration topic.
Yeah. Okay.
And if we clear about versions, then the next one is that editions. Like Microsoft, they're releasing different flavors or maybe different editions. We can say that Enterprise Edition, Standard Edition, Business Intelligence Edition, Express Edition, and Development Edition. Right. So these are the available editions we have for SQL Server. Like SQL Server 2016 is having Enterprise Edition, Standard, Business Intelligence Edition, and Developer Edition. Right. So the same way 2019 and then 17 as well. So here the difference is cost and features. So Enterprise Edition will support all features, and again when it comes to the cost or price, it's a more price than any other editions in SQL Server. Standard Edition and Business Intelligence Edition. So mostly in real-time environment, we can see the Enterprise Edition or Standard Edition. So these are the editions we can see mainly. So like if you want to use all enterprise features, so then we must go to the enterprise. If you don't want, if it is a mid-range application or maybe a low-level application, or then we don't want to spend much price for that particular software, buying the software, then we can go for the standard edition, right? So later classes will understand what are the main difference between the enterprise edition and standard edition in terms of feature wise. Okay, so business intelligence edition. So generally business intelligence edition, so we are preparing to use for BI operations. Like here we have to understand we have two different type of databases. One is relational OLTP and the second one is the OLAP. Okay. So OLTP means for regular transaction, for simply defined, like if you wanna do the operations like seconds or minutes or maybe hours on regular basis, if you wanna do the updates on a database, we prefer to go for the OLTP, online transactional processing. So the second database is OLAP, online analytical processing. So mainly for storing the historical data or analytical purpose, if you want to store the data, then we prefer to use the OLAP. So mainly we will work on OLTP. So no need to much worry about OLAP databases. So OLAP, in the OLAP we have an option to view the data in the three-dimensional. For example, we're maintaining an organization, so we need to maintain our whole history, like maybe 10 years data, like for in terms to analyze the employees count or business perspective. If you want to analyze those kind of data, we have to store the data somewhere. So the storing database, we can call it as a OLAP, right? So using the OLAP, we can generate the reports, analytical purpose, we can do that. So for doing the kind of operations, we prefer to use the business intelligence engine, mainly for extracting or loading the data, ETL we can call it. The second one is that uh, storing the data and then reporting purpose. So when you want to do these kind of operations, we can prefer to use the business intelligence engine. Again, so in every organization, so these operations are maintained by the different team. So the team we can call it as a MSBI team or maybe business intelligence team. So they are the responsible for all kind of reporting or extracting or analyzing the data. Those operations will be taken care by the MSBI team or BI team, right? If you want to do kind of operations, then preferable edition is business intelligence edition. And Express edition is a free edition, but there is a lot of limitations. So if it is for testing purpose, we can use it. And the final one is that development edition. So before 2004, before 2000, SQL Server 2014 version, it is a cost wise. So if you want to use development edition, we need to get the license. From 2014 onwards, developer edition is also having same kind of enterprise edition features, and it is a free. So, but we should not use it for development. It's for any kind of business operations. If you want to use it for only the testing purpose, or if you want to develop your own internal kind of operations, then we can use the development edition. Again, if you download, if you're using the development edition, and if you don't you install the development edition, and if you're doing the business kind of operation, like the developer edition is configured for online applications, again it is a we need to pay the price. I mean, we need to get the license for that. So that's mean before SQL Server 2014, whether developer is using for testing purpose or real-time operations, we need to get the license. But from 2014 onwards, if you want to use it for only the testing purpose, no need to get the license. We can freely use it without any expiry date. Right? So this is the one of the best option for practicing or testing our operations. Right? So these are the editions available for SQL Server.
Can you go back on the Express edition, Malesh? Just a brief.
Like express editions means like there is a lot of limitations, like we can only place 4 GB data in a database, like in other editions we can have more size, like more TBs, I think
Okay.
better GBs we can place. But when it comes to the express edition, like we can limit, there is a, I think we cannot create more than 10 database, and each database size must be only 4 GB. So only they don't prefer to use in real time. So in the real time, just only the testing purpose, small application. For internal applications, like even not internal, testing related applications, we can use it express edition. But
Okay.
we don't encourage to use for real time operations express edition. That's mean you don't get any request for installing the express edition, because we don't encourage, because it's not like maintainable, because there is no, we cannot do any kind of maintenance automated related operation using the express edition.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
no need to worry about it.
Yeah. Thanks.
No problem. And again, so like when it comes to the SQL Server software, so using the SQL Server software, we can do the different operations, like as I said, that OLTP, OLAP, and reporting. So these kind of all services, we can get it from only the single software exe file. So these here we can specify the services. We can divide the services. Those services means instance specific, instance unaware, instance aware, and instance unaware services. It means once you buy the Microsoft product or software, we can get the different services. The services we can use it for various operations. So the services are SQL Server and SQL Server Agent. These two services we are using for OLTP operations. Analysis services we are using for OLAP, analytical database. And the third one is the reporting services and full text services. These five we can call it as an instance specific services. That's mean whenever you want to install the services, we need to specify the name for this particular service. So we can install the multiple services in a single operating system. So when it comes to the instance unaware services, so these mainly we can call it as a connectivity related things, maybe application compatibility connections. For kind of purpose, we are installing the instance unaware services. So no need to specify the name for these services, and we can only install only one service for an operating system. We cannot install the multiple unaware services in a operating system. We can only install one. So notification services, integration services means ETL tool, like loading or extracting or loading kind of operations we can do using integration services. SQL Server browser, SQL Server active directory helper, SQL Server writer. So these are all internal connectivity, application connectivity. Simply you can call it as a developer tools. Okay, and these are the main services. So using these services, the operations will be performed. Like when customer is saying that I need OLTP, then we have to select the SQL Server and SQL Server agent services. The request for analysis service OLAP, then we have to select the analysis services components. The same for reporting services and full text services. So just understand what are the instance specific and instance unaware services. So in the installation topic, we'll get to know more about these services. So during the installation second, I will explain about these services. And after this one, so then coming to the tools, what kind of tools we are using to access or accessing SQL Server. So mainly we are using two different tools. One is SQL Server Management Studio, and the second one is that Configuration Manager. So these are the two important tools mainly using to do our database operations. And we can also use other options like PowerShell window, CMD, SQL CMD. So these are also, we can use it, but when using the command tools like PowerShell window or SQL CMD, we need to write the code. But when it comes to the SQL Server Management Studio, it's a GUI mode, and without writing any codes, we can do all operations graphically. Okay. So once, I mean, along with installations, we can install the Management Studio. And so if you go to the run command and type SSMS and click OK, or else you can search SSMS here, SQL Server Management Studio. Okay, so once click the SSMS, we'll get this window, and here we can see the database engine services, analysis services, reporting services, integration services. So these are the services offered by the Microsoft. So the default one is the database engine, and mainly we are working on database engine services, or else we can call the OLTP. Okay, so then the second one is that we need to enter the server name. During the installation, we'll specify the server name. The server name we need to specify it here. After that, we have to click connect. Okay. So this is the SQL Server, and there we can see the databases and all other information. Okay. So now we learn about how to connect the server. So for connecting the server, so the standard method is SSMS. Connect the click the SSMS and enter the server name and click connect. We can also use the other options like SQL CMD PowerShell. If you have good knowledge on the scripting part, we can prefer to use it. And if you don't have any knowledge, no need to worry about every operation, everything we can do using graphical way. So the second tool we are using for SQL operation is SQL Server Configuration Manager. Again, it comes along with the SQL Server installation, SQL Server Configuration Manager. Even if you don't have any computer knowledge, if you know about these two tools, we can do the all kind of SQL related operations. So once you open this configuration manager, we can see all the services, whatever services we install on this particular operating system, we can see them. So using this window, we can stop and start the services, and you can change the service properties. Okay, so later we'll discuss about what are the different properties for the services. Like services related properties are restarting or stopping or starting or restarting. So these kind of operation all we can do using configuration manager. That's mean. So as a SQL Server DBA, we mainly using these two tools. Like later classes, we'll also discuss about other tools. Like database tuning advisor for analyzing the performance related things, execution plans, profiler, extended events, and performance. So the later classes in the end of our course, when you are in the performance tuning classes, that time we'll discuss. But the most DB related operations, if we want to do that, we need to use these two tools: SQL Server Configuration Manager and SSMS. Okay, so that's about the tools. So later we'll
How
discuss
to
about
launch
all
this
of.
configuration tool?
Sorry,
How to launch this configuration manager?
yeah, so we have two options. So you can just type in the search button SQL Server Configuration Manager. We can see that you can open it, or else we have another way. Like if you go to run command SQL Server Manager, like every version has the compatibility level. Later on the database architecture classes, we'll discuss about the compatibility level. Like 2012 is having 110, and 2013, 2014 is having 12, and 2016 16 is having 13. Like if we want to use 2012 configuration manager, then we have to specify in the run command SQL Server Manager 11.msc. Even if you click, if you specify, if you enter this and if you click OK, then configuration manager will open.
Okay.
So this
Got
is
it.
the best option, like specific version configuration manager. If you want to open, then better we can use the run command and type the SQL Server Manager based on the version compatibility number we need to specify here. Okay. So that's all about history of SQL Server. That's mean what are the versions, editions, how Microsoft is releasing the product upgrades, where we can find all the product related information, how to download. And then another important point is that again bit, I didn't add it here. Like we have a 32-bit and 64-bit. Like before 2008, I think from before 2008, we have a 32-bit software and 64-bit software. That's mean Microsoft is separately providing 32-bit SQL Server software files and 64-bit. But from 2008 onwards, we have only one exe file which can use it for 32-bit as well as 64-bit. Again, so during the installation, I'll show how to select the 32-bit and 64-bit, because every software has they release in two different bitways, 32-bit and 64-bit. Even we have our OS, Windows OS, and I think most of the OSs also having 32-bit and 64-bit. But Microsoft not recommended to use the 32-bit, but still they are releasing the 32-bit and 64-bit. I think they did some changes from 2016, but I'm not sure. I think we have only 64-bit, I think. But most of the versions we have 32-bit and 64-bit, and we will get in a single exe file. No need to worry about it. Okay, that's the one point we need to keep in mind. And the second one is that, like as I said that, so we have a different versions, right? Editions like standard edition, enterprise edition, and developer edition. So when it comes to the product updates like hotfix or CUs and service packs, whatever it may be. So we can call it as a patches or product updates. So there is no segregations on the editions. Like we don't have any specifications for service packs and hotfixes and CUs product updates. So because many people think that okay, SQL Server is running with enterprise editions, we need to install the enterprise edition product updates. No, there is no segregations on the product updates. We have only one product update, whether it is a CU or hotfix or service pack. It can be applied on any kind of, irrespective of the edition, we can install it. Okay, don't worry about many people. They don't know. They spend a lot of time for getting the service pack for the particular edition. Okay. Irrespective of the edition, we can install the product update on any version. Okay, so that's another important point we need to uh, note it. And the third important point is that if 32-bit SQL Server, then we have to install the 32-bit product updates. If it is a 64-bit SQL Server, we need to install the 64-bit product update. That means there is a segregation differences in bit, but there is no differences in the editions for product updates. Okay, and we don't need to pay the money to using the product updates. We can freely download and freely we can install. So we have a separate class for auto install, service packs and hotfixes, all those things we'll discuss. Okay. So that's all for that's all related to product upgrades. Sorry, it's history of SQL server and services in software lifecycle. And if we go to the next, responsibility of database administrator. So let's discuss about this thing, because we already discussed yesterday. Just again, I want to give the brief about it. What are the responsibilities of database administrator or DBA operation? So this is very, very important interview questions. Specifically, if you are looking for interview purpose, then we must know about all our responsibilities of database administrator. So because this is the one of the standard and the important question for in the interview process, they'll ask that, tell me about what are the responsibilities, what are the roles and responsibilities for the particular work, particular project, or in the current organization. This is the common question we'll get in interview point of view. So let me open the document. Okay. Okay. The first one is that like we might all know that we have a three different type of DBAs: development DBAs, and then application DBA, and core DBAs or database administrator. So we are comes under the core DBA or DBA. DBA. Right. The first important responsibility for database administrators are installation and configuration. So we are the core responsible for installing and configuration the SQL Server, and we'll learn in the next classes. And the second one is that upgrading or migrating. So when outdated version, when you're using the outdated versions, immediately we need to, as soon as possible, we need to migrate those databases to higher supported version. So we have other other situations also we can do the upgrade and migration. Later we'll discuss about installation and configuration, upgrading and migrating the databases. So these are the important responsibilities. And the next important one is that like all are important. The next one is that patching up SQL Server services. This is very important responsibility for database administrator. Once install the SQL Server on regular basis, we need to apply the product updates. Again, we already discussed about the product update. Like those we need to identify when we need to install on all our servers. Again, in real time environment, we are maintaining three different type of environments, like development environment, and then production environment, and pre-production environment. So first we have to do it, and we have to test in the development servers, and if everything goes fine, then after waiting 2 weeks or 3 weeks or maybe 1 month, then we need to go for the pre-production, or maybe we can call it the test or PA servers. And then finally we need to apply on the production server. So this is applicable for all kind of purposes, not only the patching. So this is very important, because when somebody is asking to do it on the production server, the first question we need to ask them whether did you test on the development servers and test server? What are the result of development and test servers? So if the results are successful and clear, then only we can do it in the production server. Right? If somebody is asking to do something on the production server, we have to ask this question. And if they did not test in the development test servers, we need to ask them to test it and provide the result. If the result is successful, then we need to do it production server. Okay, so this is very important point. Please keep in mind. And the next one is that database health monitoring. We need to continuously monitor our server's health. Okay, so we don't need to do it on the manual way, because if you're maintaining more than 4,000 databases or 5,000, so we cannot spend human. We cannot spend manually to monitor. So in many organizations, people prefer to use a third-party tool. Through third-party tools, they will monitor the server health or maybe any unusual events. Like it will automatically send the email to our email box by using the third-party tools, and we can work on them. And storage availability. So again, the databases are just staying in storage like this, and we need to also monitor the storage availability. And based on the storage availability, we need to take action to extend maybe additional storage we need to add it. Okay, so then next one is that performance tuning and optimization. So and then general troubleshooting. So we can call it two different type of troubleshooting: general troubleshooting or maybe performance tuning. So general troubleshooting in the sense maybe users are not able to connect, or servers are down, like any unusual events happen, like apart related to performance, we can simply call it as a general troubleshooting. And comes to the performance tuning. Performance tuning in the sense any operation is not completing within the expected time. Generally, our transaction completed in 5 minutes, but it is taking more than 30 minutes. Or maybe the second definition is that whatever operations are taking more resources to completing the operations, those also we can call it as a performance related issues. Right. So we are need to responsible for both kind of troubleshooting, general troubleshooting as well as performance tuning. The next one is the securing the SQL Server databases. So we need to like when it comes to this point, like granting access to the users and auditing. So this kind of operations comes to the security. As I said that like we have three different type of environments: development, and then pre-production, and then production. Again, when it comes to the security, so in the development, without having approval, we can grant the excessive permissions, or maybe full rights on the development server. But when it comes to the pre-production or staging servers, usually will grant the read-write permissions by default on the testing servers or staging or pre-production. If they require more permissions, again we need to get the approval for granting the excessive permissions. And then when it comes to the production servers, usually we'll grant the read-only permission. And again, it's vary from company to company. So most of the companies are following whatever I'm saying. So when it comes to the production server, usually we'll provide the read-only permissions. If they require more permissions, like write or more, any kind of excessive permission, then again we need to get the proper approval. Right? Without having proper approval, we cannot grant access, especially in the staging and production servers. Okay, so and then conducting auditing. So we need to conduct the auditing on yearly basis or half-yearly, and then provide the result to the auditing team. So those also we'll discuss in security topic. So backup and restoration. So this is one of the continuous process. Backups are taken on daily basis. Daily we need to take the backup and we need to place in secure location. And whenever there is a requirement to recover, generally when database is corrupted or maybe somebody deleted the data in the database. So those kind of situations we prefer to do the a restore, or maybe we can call it as a recovery. So backup is a regular, but restore is occasional. So based on the requirement, we need to do the restore or recovering the database by using the restore option. And the data transfer. Uh, Data transfer means transferring the data. For example, if developers download the data in the development servers, they need to move those code or data to the staging servers or maybe production server. So maybe sometimes entire database, or maybe sometimes only the specific tables or storages or functions. So these kind of situations we have to follow the data transfer methods. We have five methods: import, export, script generation, then detach, attach, backup, restore, copy only. So five methods. So based on our requirement and need, then we can move the data using these methods. And deployment of SQL scripts. So this is one of our regular activity. And daily, sometimes on daily basis, we get these kind of requests. Because as I said that, so the developers develop the code, but they don't full access on the production servers explicitly. So in that case, what they can do that after developing the code, after testing in the development servers and the servers, they will contact the DB team and they'll take the DB team help to execute the script. That they'll provide the code and then instructions. Based on the code, instructions and code instructions, we need to execute the code on the production server. So this is very common, and every on daily basis we have this kind of request. Okay, and maximum uptime of servers. So, and I missed the disaster recovery solution. So disaster recovery means to protecting the data. So using to protecting our data, we can use the backup one, but it is a traditional. Advanced way, if you want to uh, save your data, then we can follow the disaster recovery methods. Configuring the same replica of data center. For example, if all operations are happening in Hyderabad servers, if something is happening in Hyderabad servers, maybe some floods or catastrophic failures or something is happening, then we might lose the data. So if we want to overcome this kind of problem, so what we can do that we can set up the same replica in the different locations, like whatever location we have prepared, secure, like UK, US, or whatever location. So we have to maintain the same set of servers, and we need to configure the disaster recovery and availability solutions. When configure disaster recovery and availability solutions, what will happen? Whatever updates, whatever data comes to the Azure server, and the seconds of time, the data will be transferred to the replica server. So this is the one of the advanced way to protect the data, right? And the next one is that maximum uptime of servers. So So that means we have a different maintenance activities like patching or doing some kind of configuration related thing. So wherever possible, we try to minimize the downtime. So that's one of the DBA's tasks. And documentation. So documentation also important. Like many organizations don't prefer to have the documents, but having the documents is very useful because like whenever you do new things, installations or reliability solutions, better we can make a document because when you leave the organization and new people are comes after by reading the document, they can easily understand the what is the functionality. And again, known issues like whenever you do any new kind of issues, better we can make a document. When occurring the same kind of problem, then no need to spend time for researching. We can follow the same steps to implement it. So it's an optional, but better to follow the documentation is very important. So those are the database roles and responsibilities for a database administrator. So yeah. So do you have any questions, Sandy? I think Praveen, you already know all these things. Maybe you might feel boring.
Yeah, working with the databases from past 2.5 years. Yeah. Anyway, informative. Thanks, Malesh.
Okay. Okay. And so because as part of the like what are the course I need to tell. So thank you for your time. So that's all for today, Andy. So okay, another question taken Andy. So so that's mean history of SQL Server versions and editions and the responsibility of database operations. So life cycle and warrior of services. So warrior of services we'll discuss in the installation, and we already completed the SQL Server software life cycle. So that's all for today's session, Andy. So if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask me, or else we'll wrap up for now and we'll catch up on tomorrow. Andy? So then the documents.
No, fine. I'm good. Yeah, no questions.
Okay. Okay. So in that case, we'll wrap up now and we'll catch up on tomorrow, Andy. Okay. Allah, మీకు ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉంటే నాకు వాట్సాప్ చేయండి. ఒకవేళ అర్థం కాకపోతే నేను
ఓకే మల్లేష్ షూర్
థ్యాంక్స్ అండి.
ఓకే థ్యాంక్ యూ మల్లేష్.
Okay, thank you, Andy. Bye, Andy. Have a nice day. Catch up on tomorrow. Same time. Thank you.